Welcome to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a community affairs program from West Virginia Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, Southern Communications, or its sponsors. And now, with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Welcome to Our Communiversity Today. And I'm Dr. Ramon Stuart, president of WVU Tech here in Beckley. And I'm thankful that you chose to be with us today as we explore Our Communiversity. When I talk about Communiversity, I am a firm believer that the community is the university and the university is the community. And so with that in mind, we must find strategic ways to not only integrate, collaborate, but also elevate, especially here in Southern West Virginia. And so today we have with us a special guest, Mr. Paul Maddox, former Secretary of Transportation here in the state of West Virginia, a proud actual tech alum and a member of the WVU Board of Governors, who's now the Chief Growth Officer of CTL Engineering. And one of the greatest things about CTL, they've worked with people, different municipalities here in Southern West Virginia, to find innovative and creative ways to find the funding that is necessary to build Southern West Virginia. And so today we're going to explore economic development, the role of higher education in that process, and also how we can build up Southern West Virginia. And as always, on Our Communiversity Today, we have two goals, and that's to ask and answer, why not us and why not now? So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
Website. Call Cucumber and Company today. 304-250-0123. Online at cucumberandcompany.com.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, in studio is Paul Maddox, who is the Chief Growth Officer of CTL Engineering. And he's a familiar face and voice here in the state of West Virginia. And we also, we do this special program, President for the Day. And we have President Nottingham that's here with us. And what better way to talk about the future of West Virginia than through the eyes of a young person here. So, Paul, how are you today?
President, thank you for having me on your show. I'm doing very well today.
Excellent. And then, Madam President, how are you today?
I'm good.
Excellent. I see some nervous people in studio right now. But, Paul, again, you certainly are a familiar name, familiar face. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Nitro, West Virginia, the oldest of 5 boys. There were 6 years between myself, the oldest, and my youngest brother. So grew up playing a lot of sports, all of us. And when it came time to decide what I wanted to do with my life, I decided to enroll at West Virginia Tech and become a civil engineer. And I really enjoyed my years at WVU Tech, and really formed a great foundation for my career. I'm towards the end of my career now, just turned 65 back in the summer. So it's been a good ride.
Yeah, well, that's excellent. And I love the fact being from Kanawha County, trying to figure out what you wanted to do and everything. And you decided to enroll, you became a civil engineer. And we'll talk a little bit more about your trajectory. But Madam President, you on the front end of this journey, in high school. And I think it's so neat. You're finishing the 11th and 12th grade together. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I go to Middle and Trail and Heiko, and in my future, I really want to do nursing, a nursing course at Tech.
I love it. And one of the special things about that, Paul Maddox is actually married to Elaine, who is a nursing graduate from Tech and doing great. But Paul, when you think about your time and becoming a civil engineer, and one of the neat things about it, and to our listeners, I like to remind people all the time that 4 of the past 5 secretaries of transportation are graduates of Tech. Now, and I know some people say, oh man, potholes or whatever. Well, it's the one that wasn't a graduate of Tech that accumulated all the potholes, okay? So,
President, for the record, when I left office, all the potholes were gone.
Oh, okay. So now when we talk about you in office, Paul, you are the longest serving Secretary of Transportation in the state of West Virginia's history. What does that mean to you?
Well, I'm very humbled to have been chosen by Joe Manchin when he became governor to be his commissioner of highways and also his secretary of transportation. And to be able to do that not only for Governor Joe Manchin, but also for Governor Earl Ray Tomlin. I spent 12 years in those roles, and they're the highlight of my career. I mean, every civil engineer, I believe, has that aspiration of being a Secretary of Transportation or Highway Commissioner for the state that they work in.
And I think it's so good, and I love that we have our president for the day here who will be graduating high school, going on to get her degree. You go and you get a degree, and most of the time we try to figure out, well, what are we going to do with it and everything like that. And just the notion of getting a degree and then getting to the highest level or position that you could have in the entire state government with that degree is a very honorable thing. But did you start out knowing that you could make it there?
I started my career working for the Division of Highways, actually co-opted with the Division of Highways while going to school at West Virginia Tech. And upon graduation, they offered me a job. At the time, is early 1980s, recession. There were not a lot of jobs available for young graduates. I was fortunate, got a job at the Division of Highways, and I can remember one of the older gentlemen there, after working there for a while around him, for whatever reason, he took me off to the side. He said, I can see you being the commissioner of highways one of these days. And it ended up, everything fell in place in my life, and it actually happened. But I went from highways, went to the consulting business, worked for Wolpert Consultants over in Ashton, Kentucky. Then they moved me to Charleston, West Virginia. I ran their Charleston office, grew it. Then I worked for another very well-known Tech alumnus, Mr. Ed Robinson. And Ed was a great mentor to me. I worked for Ed for several years. When I did leave Ed's company, I started my own company for a year. And that's when Joe Manchin came calling and asking me to serve for his administration. And I did so, spent 12 years in the position of Secretary and Commissioner. And then I went back to Ed Robinson. I really have a lot of respect for Ed. He's a really good engineer, good for WVU Tech, served on the Board of Governors for WVU. And a couple of years back, CTL Engineering Company acquired a portion of E.L. Robinson Engineering Company, and I was part of that acquisition. And I've been working as Chief Growth Officer now for CTL Engineering Company for the past 2 years in April.
Well, and I love that trajectory. And Madam President, and to our listeners, it's not about always following a straight line. It's about following your heart and your passion. And one of the things, Paul, that I know that you have a passion for is tech. You talked about Ed Robinson. You talked about the Board of Governors. And one of the neat things is you are the first elected or appointed by the governor tech representative to the WVU Board of Governors. So there's a lot of work there, a lot of collaboration. And one of the things I've always admired about you is your commitment to economic growth and development. And so you talk about your time at CTL. Tell us about some of the things that you've done as Chief Growth Officer.
Currently, we're working with the city of Bluefield. They've been a client of mine for several years now. And with the big infrastructure bill that was passed about 5 years ago now, there was a lot of federal discretionary money available for communities for infrastructure throughout the country. And I worked with the city of Bluefield in applying for various grants. And we were successful in being selected for over $50 million worth of federal money going into the city of Bluefield for helping fix their aging infrastructure. Bluefield at one time, prior to probably 1950, was about 33,000 residents, I believe. They're down to below 10,000 now. And it's such a similarity from what has happened to Bluefield, West Virginia, for all of southern West Virginia. And I'd mentioned earlier that I'm the oldest of 5 boys in my family. I'm one of 2 that stayed here in West Virginia. The other 3, when they left state in the 1980s to work in the Carolinas. And we just have so much out-migration over the past few decades. And as I'm getting towards the end of my career, it's getting more and more a burning desire to see what I can do to help our communities and to help West Virginia Tech in particular to draw those people back into West Virginia.
You know, and that's so important. And we talk all the time about the necessity to build up what we call the Southern 13. And Madam President, the Southern 13 are the 13 counties that comprise Southern West Virginia. And Fayette County is one of them. How do you feel when you hear people like Mr. Maddox saying, I'm going out and getting $50+ million in federal funds to bring money back to Southern West Virginia to try to build it up for the next generation, which is you?
I would say I'm grateful, and I'm sure a lot of other students out there are as well, because you don't really know how people's financial issues are or what kind of schooling that they want to be in, but they will settle for less. So I think that it's very good and that a lot of students will be thankful.
Yeah, I also agree. You know, Paul and I talk quite often about that development, that infrastructure and everything. And I believe a key component of that is also higher education. You know, I was doing some reading recently and they were talking about how institutions of higher education are the modern day factories in towns around America, because we come in, we employ people. Here at Tech, we employ 284 people, $35 million annual economic impact. And so for us to bring students to us, get them through us and graduate them. But the key is having an environment where they can live, work, play, and raise a family. Ladies and gentlemen, again in studio with us today, Paul Maddox and our president for the day. We're going to take a short break, so stay tuned to News Talk WWNR for more Our Communiversity today.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
Just call right now on your dream website. Call Cucumber and Company today. 304-250-0123. Online at cucumberandcompany.com.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity today. Again in studio is Paul Maddox, the Chief Growth Officer of CTO Engineering and our president for the day, President Nottingham. And we're going to discuss a little bit deeper economic development. And, you know, I've already said I believe colleges and universities are the modern factories and the role that we play. But I will tell you, we must at Tech, we must grow, we must expand. But that comes, I believe, as a benefit to Southern West Virginia, not only our employees, but also the students and our graduates and the economic impact it has. But I'll tell you, we oftentimes try to make a dollar out of 15 cents, Paul. As you well know, from a perspective as a board member, a business owner, a state leader. But you said something in the first segment that really piqued my interest. And you start talking about the amount of money that was brought in Mercer County for economic growth and development. Tell us about that process that you would go through, that you as the Chief Growth Officer can help us here in Southern West Virginia go after and secure those funds.
Well, the number one thing is getting everybody on the same page and the same synergy working together for a common good. In Bluefield, they had a very strong city manager. He left, went to Elizabethtown, North Carolina. They brought in another very strong city manager and worked with both of them very well. We identified they knew what they wanted to do. We identified those projects. We worked with them in putting together applications for federal grants, and they were very successful in being selected for those grants. One of the reasons was that other communities in West Virginia, they did not have the knowledge, or for whatever reason, maybe they didn't have the local match, but we were able to even overcome some of those issues to apply for those federal grants. Now, I was able to work with WVU Tech in the Division of Highways, and we were able to get the WVU Tech Campus Corridor funded. And I believe in the neighborhood of $10, $11, $12 million in federal grant money for that project, which I understand is going to go to construction here later in 2026.
Yes.
So looking forward, very much forward. That's been a long time coming. I had that idea in, I believe it's November of 2019, driving on campus. Tech had not been in Beckley for very long, and I saw the nice flags, and it looked like a nice small town college campus, but we had all these overhead utility lines and utility poles, and we just needed a touch of beautification along our main corridor through campus. And this project's going to provide some of that aesthetics that we've been missing. So there's other projects. I've met with Greg Duckworth, your county commissioner, here recently. We're working with Greg, starting to talk with Greg, wanting to sit down with the mayor and city manager of Beckley and see what CTL can do. What are the needs in the projects? We've identified some needs CTL has, but we need to sit down with the leadership here in Raleigh County and in the city of Beckley. President, you and I talk all the time. We know the importance of growing tech and our enrollment. And I just want to also say that WVU Tech can be that economic engine for Southern West Virginia, no doubt in my mind. I see Beckley and Boone, North Carolina being very similar. They have Appalachian State back in the late 70s, early 80s. They were a WVU Tech, and now look at them. We have that opportunity here with the New River Gorge National Park. We grow our enrollment, 100 students. That translates to about $1 million going into the local economy, and we have a lot of room to grow. We're in the right direction. We got a great president in you.
Oh boy, you gotta say that again for my good ear.
So pleased to have a leader like you, the charismatic, and just excited for the possibilities that we have here at Beckley and with WVU Tech.
And I certainly share that excitement. Back on January 3rd, I started my 4th year here, and I really believe that we're in a good position to do great things. But I also know that we don't need a handout, we need a hand up. And you talk about the federal resources and the grants and different things like that. How do you even go about identifying potential grants?
Well, there's just so many grants out there to go after. And a lot of them are discretionary. That means the U.S. DOT secretary and his staff, working with our congressional leaders, they make those selections. And we just need, if you don't fill out the application and submit your project for consideration, then of course you're not going to get any projects funded. You've not applied. So the first thing we got to do is identify those projects. Get a firm like CTL Engineering Company working with you to do the preliminary engineering, prepare the budgetary numbers needed for the applications, develop the applications for you. And then you've got a lot of local folks that are already in place that they also can do applications and they can do the administration. They can continue, we can do the upfront work, hand it off to these other organizations. They can actually apply and do all the administration. We're interested in bringing those federal dollars to West Virginia. And we're interested in doing the engineering work, the design work, doing the construction inspection work, materials testing work. That's what CTO engineering does. But in order to get these projects moving, you need to be working with an engineering company up front, identifying your projects and doing the paperwork needed to get your projects in line for federal funding.
And I love it. You know, I always say, why not us? Why not now? And then you talk about this and then you got me pumped up, you ready to go, excited and everything like that. But you also talked about how important it is to get everybody on the same page so that all of us are stronger than one of us. And, you know, when we look at where we are, and Madam President, as I think you hear these ideas, you hear this money and everything, you're going to get that college degree. Will this environment make you want to live, work, play, and raise a family here?
I think so, yeah.
Excellent. And so we need to double down and be steadfast and resolute. And I know Paul and I are working with some things with the Beckley, Raleigh County Chamber of Commerce, working with some of our legislative friends and everything like that, to try to bring this together, get everybody on the same page. And, you know, I'm very appreciative of the kind comments, but I've always, as you know, believed in this communiversity piece. I do not believe that the community and the university should grow apart. They must be growing together, integrating, elevating. I think that's important. But I want to talk about this one point. And you mentioned Boone, North Carolina. And you look at the growth and the development and everything. And there's an institution called Appalachian State there. And with Boone, North Carolina, Appalachian State, many people remember the Baby Mountaineers. And the Baby Mountaineers took down the Big Mountaineers. And then next thing you know, you had this coaching change that sent somebody up to maize and blue. And, you know, it's kind of crazy how things go full circle. But the whole concept there with Boone and that approach is growth. Tell me how that Boone model, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you one component of that. And we've been working with some various people to try to get some money together, try to get a location together, is also football. And I'm Paul. So tell us about that whole vision of not only expanding to Boone, North Carolina-ish type, but also bringing a higher level of athletics.
Yeah, I think athletics is key to any college and community. It's an identity. People rally around your athletic teams. Here recently, my hat's off. Congratulations to the Golden Bears and their run to the national title game for NAIA soccer. Can you imagine the excitement if WVU Tech had a football team? And my interest in bringing a football program back to WVU Tech is more of one to help our enrollment. There is no better way to control or grow your enrollment than by bringing a football program into the fold. Recently, Rio Grande, Ohio brought their football program back. They, I believe I was told by Delegate Browning, made $1 million in their first year, okay? They played their football games were played at a high school, Jackson County High School, 20 miles from Rio Grande, Ohio. And they plowed an area off of the old Bob Evans farm over there in Rio Grande. That was their practice facility. So they started from scratch. They had not had a football program for over 50 years in Rio Grande. Their first year, they brought in over 100 students, made $1 million, and it's self-sufficient. That's what I like about bringing a small college football program to WVU Tech in the city of Beckley. Number one, it grows our enrollment. As I said earlier, 100 students translates to about $1 million spent locally in the economy. You bring back football at WVU Tech, you're bringing in, say, 100 football players, but you're also going to bring in a dance team, girlfriends, a lot of auxiliary type of folks that are going to follow that football program. We also have metro rates now here at WVU Tech, which opens up Southwest Virginia, the I-77 corridor through Virginia down into North Carolina and the Charlotte area. What better place to recruit future football players here for WVU Tech than that corridor? It's an easy 4-hour drive from Charlotte to Beckley, and we can bring people into Beckley to WVU Tech, grow our enrollment, and I believe that may be the catalyst that we need to really start the ball rolling as far as momentum goes in growing WVU Tech, which can be the engine for Southern West Virginia in economic growth. Well,
certainly, and you know, that Boone County vision and growth and everything, you know, because when we grow, Southern West Virginia grows. Again, ladies and gentlemen, in studio with us today, Paul Maddox and our president for the day, President Nottingham. We're going to take a short break, so stick with News Talk WWNR as we close out this edition of Our Communiversity Today.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride at Pendleton Community Bank. Our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Hey, you need a website. You can't do anything. Just call Cucumber. Do it right here and now. Get started right now on your dream website. Call Cucumber and Company today. 304-250-0123. Online at cucumberandcompany.com.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. I want to thank our guest, Paul Maddox, who's the Chief Growth Officer of CTO Engineering and also the future of Southern West Virginia, a participant in our President for the Day program, President Nottingham. I want to thank them for sharing their time and also their talent. And I love it when I have a president for the day that can come in and be with a seasoned person like Paul, who's been a Secretary of Transportation, a small business owner, a leader in the engineering community, not only here in West Virginia, but throughout our nation. This is important because there is an opportunity for us to get the resources that not only we need, but more importantly, the resources that we want to be able to build a better Southern West Virginia for people like our president for the day, whether it's through the economic engine of higher education, building the infrastructure of Southern West Virginia, or even expanding with a vision to do better and be better. That's what we must be committed to. So ladies and gentlemen, please visit WWNRradio.com for additional information about Paul Maddox, CTL, and what they can do for Southern West Virginia. And also, please see how you can help build Our Communiversity Today for a brighter Southern West Virginia tomorrow.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. For more on this program and contact information, visit our website at wwnrradio.com.